guys, welcome back. My name is Erwin, and today we're going to be talking about a new Pixar movie. And that Pixar movie is Toy Story 5. That's right, guys. We are on the fifth one somehow. My gosh, it's insane. But I'm going to give my brief story of my story of Toy Story right here, right? I can't even remember the first time watching just the first one alone. But I remember watching the first two many times, especially the second one, and those movies alone, just the toys are so recognizable to anyone is insane. Right? The fact that we're on the fifth one, we got a spin-off of just Lightyear was not good. If you guys haven't seen it, it was very mid, very mediocre. It was just not worth telling the story, which is crazy. But overall, we got five of them. I'll give my rankings later in the review, right? But in this fifth one, we got Woody, Buzz, and Jesse, and the rest of the gang, and their jobs as toys are being challenged by electronics, right? By this electronic called Lily Pad, and that's just a new thing that's basically a threat to their playtime with their kids, Bonnie especially. But in this one in particular, we definitely follow Jesse throughout the story. So if you're just like, I need to see all the Toy Story movies before I see the fifth one. If anything, just watch this Toy Story 2. Watch that one in particular, and you'll be good for this fifth one because you mostly follow Jesse. The main protagonist in this movie is Jessie and her story and her continuation of what, like, basically her belonging as a toy, and like her basically being wanted, and like her purpose as well, because it's just been challenge and challenge. She talks about in this movie where Bonnie is her third kid, and at this point she just feels pretty much done as a toy, which is crazy to think about. I was like, oh my god, like all these challenges, especially as a toy, would have to come across, and it's just like you're just moving from one kid to the next. You think you have like this basically a time frame, because I think it was mentioned that around, was like before 12, I think it's like before they hit around puberty, they had this immense time to play with their kids, have these imagination, this playtime with all these other toys, and pretty much after that, that's when they would get introduced to a new kid. But this new idea of electronics on its own being brought into um, their world now, and now that alone, it being a threat to her, like her kid Bonnie, and to like many other kids that were shown in this movie, is a great concept, because obviously it's not something we haven't seen before in this franchise. And the way that they it was introduced, I thought it was great. I think it definitely tackled so many ideas of what electronics does, not just to children but to adults as well. And I think it's something that everyone already realizes, but the fact that it's just being communicated and visualized to us as the audience is great, because I think it just gives us a sense of realization. It's like, where's our creativity? Because it definitely seems like our creativity is just being taken away by these electronics, by the things that we're watching, by the things that we're playing with, we're doom scrolling with, and like there's no sense of self. And it's like we basically lose ourself in these electronics, right? And I don't know, it just made me think, because I remember even out when I was a kid, I would play imagination. I don't know if, like, I'm pretty sure as most kids would do. I don't know if it happens nowadays, but I remember getting so excited just to play with any type of figure, especially like action figures. I remember having like GI Joe, those in particular, GI Joes. I remember having a bunch of those toys, and I would play that. Even as a kid, I would ask my parents to buy me Legos, right? We didn't have much money growing up, and we would have, sorry, my dogs are going crazy. But I remember I had just asked to get, I just any box of Legos, right? And we just got like the small, like $10 ones. I was so happy about. But I remember one time my dad got like basically like this. It's like five or six big boxes of random Legos, random Legos, and and it was like from Goodwill. And so we went on an auction. I was like begging, please, 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 right? And I got it, right? I got my Legos. I got my Legos. I was so happy because I was able to make like 5, 6 different ships of just like random ships that I created in my head based off these Legos, and then I would create these stories of like good and bad guys, you know bad guys being good again, good guys becoming bad, and it's just different stories because a lot of times like it would just use that imagination. It would be showcased in these movies, especially in this fifth one, because the animation in this movie is phenomenal. They have like two different art styles. Well, one art style is like top of like a water painting or like art painting in a way. Looks magnificent. It kind of reminded me of like Puss in Boots: Last Wish. It looks great, but just even the animation alone, it's insane how far just Pixar alone has grown with their animation style. Because there was this part where we get to follow, because like half this movie you're following like different amount of Buzz Lightyears, which is crazy. But while they were running around this forest, the the way that the water and everything green, like the grass, the trees, just looked so realistic. It was crazy. It made me think: was this even animated, or is this just something that they just shot? And it was just insane to witness, right? But I really enjoyed this movie. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked. At this point, they're on their fifth one. They could be making 10 of these, and I would be happy because they really do have an endless amount of storytelling when it comes to any of these toys that I'm willing to see. Because at this point, I'm not gonna lie, my favorites are probably T Rex and Slinky. The reasons why: T Rex, he's a dinosaur. Slinky, a dog. Oof. Sorry, I just ate. But either way, right? Those two, my favorite, also because of the voices. I just like the raspy noises that the way that they talk is so funny, and T Rex alone makes me laugh every time he just yells "Buzz." That's too good. That's too good. I need more of that. And so, but it was also nice to see that we followed Jesse this time around. My only thing I would say about this movie is that it was kind of slow in the beginning, but I think the reason why it became a bit slow was it was the Buzz Lightyears, the multiple ones that we saw. Because for halfway through this movie, you're following them around, and with them being around in this movie, you just wonder what's their purpose, what are they doing, what are they doing, what are they doing here. And it wasn't until maybe the end of like the last 20 or 30 minutes, I would say like the last 30 minutes of this movie, where they're finally being utilized, and you're just like, oh, that's why they're here. But it's just so strange because it's like to me it just felt like I was kind of tired of seeing so much Buzz Lightyear in this franchise, because he was such a main thing, especially in the very first Toy Story movie. He was such a main point of like becoming like a newer version of a toy that was showcased in the first one, and now it's just like he's just in everywhere, and he's just so massive as a toy brand, which I totally get. That's why they made him like made a spin off of Lightyear too, and just to capitalize on it. I don't know. I kind of want them to tone it down a little bit with Lightyear. I get it. He's still cool, but I kind of wanted less. I wanted less because luckily it didn't take away from Jessie's storyline, because I thought that was really great to see her and like how she evolves as a character and how she grows too. And we basically see we just witnessed another growth from a toy's perspective, which was amazing, right? So I highly recommend watching this movie. But I'm gonna go ahead and start ranking them. All right, I'm just gonna go spitballing real quick. Right, we got 5 of them. I'm gonna say for my 5th one, it's probably gonna be this movie, Toy Story 5. I just watched it. It was pretty new. I still kind of enjoyed it. I'm going to say Toy Story 5. My 4th one, Toy Story 4. Yeah, it's there, guys. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably the nostalgic factor for the next 3. Get ready. Toy Story. That's right. The third one is Toy Story. So we already have Toy Story 5, 4, and then the very first one right there, right? And then the second one, Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2. I literally the second and the third one could always flip flop with me because either Toy Story and Toy Story 2, they're just so like they're so ingrained in my brain of like what the franchise is, just those two alone, that I always think about like those two are like the embodiment of what even just like Pixar animation is, right? And that's what I think of every time. But those two movies alone are great. I can always I switch them, but to me, I think especially after watching the fifth one, I was like Toy Story 2 just goes up a little bit more because it adds so much more. But at the very top, Toy Story 3, I think it's just the perfect ending, especially when you've basically been following the kid Andy in the first three in the franchise. And I thought it was like a great payoff and saying goodbye to not just to Andy but the toys themselves. I thought that was just a remarkable way to end that story, and I still get emotional from it. And I think that movie alone is probably my favorite out of the whole Toy Story franchise. But overall, guys, that's my thoughts on this movie. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you've seen it, which one's your favorite? How would you rank them? Like, comment, subscribe down there, and I'll see you guys next time.